Week 12 portfolio review, recapping all the action in DFS yesterday, Underdog, DraftKings, Guillotine Leagues, all of that good stuff. Pick Ems, oh my God, a brutal Pick Em sweat. We're going to talk about that. I got a really nice email from someone as well who had a nice finish. I want to talk about that. And then we'll set our sights on Monday Night Football. I was in the lab this morning looking at stuff in the Pick'em lobby there for Ravens and Chargers. Think there's some fun angles we can cook up there. So at the end of the show, we will build some Pick'em entries to make back all the money we lost on the Week 12 main slate. I'm Pete. Let's do it.
I suffer from a debilitating condition known as atropic chalkitis.
Peter's one of the greatest depositors I've ever seen.
Trust the process. Let's go.
I got auto match with Levitan. This is bullshit.
If I just go the other way in that 66, I win all the money. All the money.
If I had 150 lineups, I'd win too.
Process over results.
Illuminati make a bitch go crazy. I don't know which one of these my baby. Bust out AP, crack spot bullets in your head like KD. Bust it, bitch go bust it. And I had 10 pints with me in Russia.
Hey everyone.
Hey everyone. Where am I? Here? There we are. GMs. What is up here? The Jayden finish truly did send everything out of whack. Yeah, there was a moment yesterday near the end of those 1 p.m. games where I checked the Battle Royale leaderboard. I had a team up there. Davis had a team up there. Mike Zakarian had a team up there. And I was like, oh, this is fun. And then that Jayden bomb to Terry McLaurin, and it all went away. But that is how it goes. Sometimes the things break your way. Sometimes it doesn't. What is up, Allie? What's up, AJ? Appreciate this, Fatty. Good week for the gems. Yeah, it was. You know, we missed on Geno and Josh Downs. Those didn't play out well, but Bucky was a smash. Tony Pollard was a smash. And I guess Sam Laporta was a whiff as well. So 2 of 5, though, with the Pollard and Bucky stuff. If you guys aren't familiar, you hear me talking about it a lot. We got the Deposit Kingdom channel. That's a separate YouTube channel. I do a weekly video focused on Battle Royale sleepers for these Underdog contests. It goes live every Friday afternoon. Would really appreciate if you guys subscribe, watch, and comment those videos. Spend a lot of time and work preparing for those, recording those, having those edited, all of that good stuff. So appreciate the kind words there. And I mentioned on that video that posted on Friday that there's going to be a programming shift for it because of how the Thanksgiving schedule falls. I'm just not going to have time to work on a produced video this week for the gems because I normally do that on Thursdays. Thursday is obviously Thanksgiving, but I didn't want to, deprive the people of the gems for this week 13 main slate. So what I decided to do is I'm going to do it as a live stream for YouTube members on this channel. So if you want to become a member, you can get access to the week 13 gems. I think I'm going to do that Friday, mid to late morning, probably like 10:30, 11 a.m. Eastern. And it'll be very similar format. I'll go through my favorite gems at each position. We'll do some drafts. I'll also answer some questions too. We can do some evergreen strategy as well. So become a YouTube member if you guys want access to that. What is up, Keith here? What is up, GMs all around? FC Huey, I see you becoming a YouTube member. I want to say I saw you at the top of some leaderboard yesterday. Was it Battle Royale? I want to say I recognize your name. What's up, Josh? What's up, Tyler? What is up, Star Kindler? Kevin got 11th in the Wildcat yesterday. Nice job. Another L for us, 0% Barkley bros. Yeah, we'll get to it when we check out my advance rates. I've been kind of just treading water, average advance rate, which considering, my portfolio and lack of Barkley and Henry, I was living with it. I was like, this seems to be best case scenario. It finally got nuked last night. Barkley finally said, no, Peter, you can't get by any longer. And I lost like 6 advancing teams yesterday. So the Barkley, death march continues on for those of us who are underweight or faded. What's up, Bob, in here? How's everybody doing in the chat? We got Jonathan here. What's up, Nicholas, with the nice super chat off the rip here. Hope you and yours enjoy a happy Thanksgiving. Appreciate all you do. Appreciate that, Nicholas. Yeah, I'm excited for Thanksgiving. You know, it's always hard to have kind of an abbreviated week, and you basically, you know, chop up the week into kind of 2 different slates because there is so much going on with the Thanksgiving slate. And so it's a little extra work. It's a lot to cram in, but I'm really looking forward to it. And also, shout out to Underdog. If you guys didn't see, a bunch of the Thanksgiving contests are already in the lobby, including what I was hoping would be there, which is the $5 main contest, which is rake free, which is really sick. They did this last year. Highly, highly recommend taking advantage of that. I think still people don't realize as the field gets harder and harder, or I should say more and more competitive, it gets tougher and tougher to beat the rake alone. Like, not only do you have to be, you know, positive or above average player, like you need to be even beyond that, because being just a slightly above average player means you break even with the rake. And so when there's these contests without the rake, it just gives you a wider safety net to be able to be profitable. So highly recommend taking advantage of that rake free contest. I believe it is called the Gobble. And yeah, we'll be talking a little bit more about that contest in the lead up to Thanksgiving. Pious Devil had the worst Sunday of the year, but has a ticket to the 4444, which I have to play on Thanksgiving. Oh man, that sounds both like a fun sweat and also not fun for a 3-game slate. What's up, GMs? Trent normally doesn't watch live, but had to drop in and say, screw all the chalk donkeys. What did he end up coming in as? Jayden Daniels wasn't chalk donkey. I'm looking at him in the SPY. I played him in the SPY. He was 5.5%. 5.5%. Jayden Daniels weren't chalk donkeys. Jayden Daniels was a good play. I was tilting the Terry McLaurin stuff. I was tilting the Brian Robinson stuff. But no. Jayden Daniels at 5.5%. That wasn't a bad play at all. And yes, Jupiter, you're doing the ship chasing Thanksgiving stream this year. First time I saw your content was Thanksgiving stream 2 years ago. Man, that's a hilarious place to get introduced to everything. Yeah. We're a little bit behind sending out invites to guests. I'm going to do that after the show today, but yeah, we'll be live probably 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. We bring a bunch of friends on, and it'll just be a smorgasbord of a show. Dare I say a cornucopia of fantasy fun and merriment. We'll do underdog teams, build pick ems, build some Millie Maker teams. We'll do our Google Sheet draft, all of that good stuff. It'll be a fun time. All right, let's get into it. As always, we got a lot of ground to cover here, and we'll also be aiming to wrap up at 11:45, so you guys can head over and watch the ADP chasing crew react to the Week 12 slate through kind of the lens of season long and best ball. Mike Shope, the new host over there on ADP chasing, and you can watch Davis, tilt his face off over Barkley and everything else. Everyone be nice to Davis today. I saw a sad boy post from him on X. He's going through it right now. And by being nice, it means you can still troll Davis, but just troll him in a slightly nicer way. I think that's what we all need to do. All right, let's pull this up on screen. We'll start with the GPPs. I played 3 tournament lineups yesterday. Put one in the bigger power spy, one in the smaller power spy. Why am I saying power spy? Power sweep. 2 in the power sweep, 1 in the spy. I guess you could call my 3 entries power spy. Had one lineup that cashed, 2 others that didn't. Let's break this down. My one good lineup here was a Tua double stack. This was something I knew I wanted to play. Unfortunately, mine did not include Achane. I did kind of a classic one with Tua and Tyreek Hill. I thought this was a really good spot for the Dolphins passing game. And I also thought Waddle was going to be a really nice piece, which ended up being correct. It was just Tyreek Hill chalk kind of sunk this lineup. So I'll break down the the ownership percentages here for you audio listeners. I had Tua at 8.8%, Tyreek Hill at 25.8%, Jaylen Waddle at 3.4%. Didn't force a bring back here. Played Kareem Hunt chalk at 56.6%. Brian Robinson chalk 36.5%. Noah Brown at 7.7%. Trey McBride at 11.6%. Ken Walker at 12.2%. And then Lions defense at 1.3%. So I knew this stack and a lot of my other kind of ancillary pieces, the McBride and Walker, the one-off Noah Brown, I knew those were going to be unique. So played it kind of straight and narrow there at running back. That was definitely the direction the Sims were pushing. So yeah, a little frustrating to be on the Dolphins, not have Achane and Jonnu in this lineup. Obviously, McBride pays off his price tag here, dropping 28 points. But one of those lineups that was just close and yet so far away. Brian Robinson, that was really disappointing. There was the injury scare early where he left the game. Then he came back in. But this Washington offense for the majority of the game, basically until, Jayden Daniels connected with McLaurin on that massive touchdown bomb, their offense just could not get going here. 13 rush yards, 11 receiving yards. Feel pretty silly looking at that play in hindsight. Noah Brown was one of my, gold star locks from the Cram show yesterday. I thought he was just such a nice play in this game environment. I was wanting to bet on a bounce back for the Commanders. Really nice team total, 10-point home favorites. Noah Brown's been getting better usage than Terry McLaurin. So 7.7%, 4,200. He leads the team in target share again yesterday. I think he had a 29% target share yesterday. But it ends up being Terry who gets home on that bomb. If that bomb goes to Noah Brown, then we're really starting to have some fun. So this team scores just under 150 points, finishes 176th in this 200K power sweep. A little, not even a 2x min cash here. Let's see what took down this contest. So this drafter, JBK, ran away with the contest, won by over 15 points here, had the Jayden Daniels to Terry McLaurin with the Schoonmaker bring back, and then just played a bunch of the other best plays. Achane at 30%, drops 20. Cortland Sutton at 22% ownership, drops 30. Jacoby Myers at 12.5%, drops 25. Josh Jacobs at 10%. That was the sick play there. Drops 31. And then Packers defense correlated with Jacobs there, and then a one-off Kareem Hunt as well. We were talking through the Jacoby Myers stuff on the Cram. ETR, I think, had him projected for over 20% in small field, and we kind of flagged him as getting squeezed. I believe it was my guy, Eli Reasons, was shouting that out, and I completely agreed there. So that did happen. Jacoby Myers at 20 to 25% chalk did not feel good to me. But down here at 12.5% at 5,100 with his role, just a massive target share in games without Devontae Adams this year. So pretty nice play, nice lineup here. We'll get to it when we get to Underdog, but it was always going to be a rough week for me, even getting a lot of things right on Underdog, because where Cortland Sutton and Terry McLaurin fell, both in that kind of ADP 20 to 30 range, where I tend to kind of pass over those guys for the players who don't project that differently and have a way less gaudy ownership number. So when both Sutton and McLaurin hit for, 20 plus, that was always going to make it a tough day for me there. But nice lineup here. Let's check over in the SPY here. I did actually have a Jayden Daniels team in the SPY. I wanted to attack this spot. Of course, had to tack on Brian Robinson here, which sunk this stack, and I didn't have Terry McLaurin. So this was more of a Commanders onslaughts. Jayden Daniels, Brian Robinson, Noah Brown, and Zach Ertz. I mean, this is still wild to me. Like, the spot in the team total for the Commanders here, to get Daniels at 5.5%, Noah Brown at 4.9%, Zach Ertz at 3.9%. Feel really good about that. Brian Robinson sinks the lineup. The rest of this had some of my favorite kind of other contrarian plays. Aaron Jones at 2%. Really liked him. Played Deebo Samuel at 2%. That didn't work out. Had JSN at 23.6%. That, paid off, I guess. And then Ken Walker, 12%. And then Buccaneers defense. So just too many snowflakes here. The Brian Robinson and Deebo Samuel, again, not having Terry McLaurin here, which I'm fine with. I mean, he cost $2,600 more than Noah Brown, and Noah Brown had a higher target share than him. McLaurin basically just gets home on one play. So I don't feel bad about that. I'm just bummed. Like, you look at the structure of the two lineups, and it's like, if I had done this structure with the Dolphins lineup, right, where you have Tua, Achane, wide receiver, and tight end, like I did here, then you're really cooking. Whereas with Daniels, you wanted the double stack without the running back. So that's how it goes in DFS. You can kind of be on the right stuff, but if you don't have the exact pieces around it, then it's not going to work out. Team scored 206 points here. Some different players. Holy shit, a Noah Gray play. Unbelievable. I didn't realize people were getting to Noah Gray on this slate. I mean, clearly not many people, because it was 0.7%. But geez, holy shit. So this team that took down the Spy had the Tua, Achane, Waddle, didn't even have Jonnu Smith. Certainly could have justified Jonnu on this team. Plays Jahmyr Gibbs, really nice play at 13.3%, drops to almost 25. Plays one-off Terry McLaurin here, plays semi-chalk Calvin Ridley, 15%, not too bad. The Noah Gray play, and then Bucky in the flex. Loved Bucky. He was in my Gems video. He was a gold star lock for us on the cram yesterday, and he could have even had a bigger day. There was a couple carries that they went to Sean Tucker at the goal line, but man, Bucky looks so sick right now. Outsnapped Rashod White for the first time this year. Feels like it's really happening for him, even in a backfield that continues to, be split with Rashod and Sean Tucker. So pretty sick lineup here. Just an insane one-off Noah Gray play, though. I can't get over this. I could see myself building this lineup but have Jonnu Smith there, and maybe I go down at Calvin Ridley or something to make it work. But holy shit, Noah Gray, hats off to the Noah Gray bros. I gotta pour some coffee here. Myers gets squeezed every week. I don't get it. It's the perfect example of the type of play that isn't fun to click, right? It's a guy who doesn't have a huge touchdown expectation, who's tethered to a quarterback in an offense that we don't like, and Gardner Minshew, who's still most likely going to play second fiddle to Brock Bowers. I agree with you, but I understand why he gets squeezed. Like, it's not a fun click there. And then on top of it, right? Like, imagine if you're staring at the ownership percentage and you see he's projecting for 25% ownership. And then you're really like, I don't want anything to do with this. Whereas if you see him projected at 10 to 15% ownership, you're like, all right, I get this. I will pay for these targets. But I think he definitely falls in the bucket of like the cash game type player where you can, I think, question the ceiling a little bit there. So I can understand why the field doesn't trip over themselves to play Jakobi Meyers chalk. Yeah, Shorty, you played Caleb and Waddle yesterday and somehow didn't make money. DFS is very hard. Yeah, it's tough. I'm a little upset at myself. When I kind of was doing my research, I did really like the spot for the Bears pass catchers. And I think I'd just been burned so many weeks. Like I've chased Keenan, I've chased Rome. I've tried to roll out these double stacks. And of course, yesterday it hits. I believe Davis in his BR lineup, I don't know where it finished. When I saw Davis had a top 10 lineup, it had DJ Moore in it, which was a pretty good scroll. The DJ Moore and Keenan stuff really getting home there. But yeah, no one really wanted to play Caleb after, multiple bad weeks against this, tough Vikings pass rush. So it's tough, man. The Waddle play, obviously really good. I'm guessing it was Jonathan Taylor that sunk you, right, Shorty? I know you were big on JT yesterday. Let's look at my third lineup, and then we will review the Deposit Kingdom contest on DraftKings. This one was in the bigger power sweep. Wanted to roll out a Geno Smith double stack. When we did the cram yesterday, no one mentioned Geno. And he was projecting for like 15% ownership in small field. And so I thought that was, a spot that I kind of wanted to attack because I did really like it. And I was like, hey, if this isn't as trendy as I thought it was going to be, I definitely want to have it. Certainly didn't get any ownership percent discounts on Metcalf. He comes in at 19% here. Jackson Smith and Jigba at 22%. The rest of this lineup had Joe Mixon on it, 9.5%, Achane at 30%, Xavier Worthy, who was the other play we really liked along with Noah Brown there as far as like pivots off of that 5K chalk. Schoonmaker fit in here at 25%, and then Bucky had to get a share of Bucky here, and then Dolphins defense. So, this one hit on some of the side pieces. Bucky, nice hit. Schoonmaker at 2,500 going for 14 is more than fine. Achane obviously getting 20 there. But yeah, paying up for Joe Mixon. He has, one of his worst games of the year, doesn't find the end zone. And then the main stack just doesn't really hit. Geno and DK don't get going. Xavier Worthy, as always, feels like he's close to a big game, but doesn't get loose for a bomb. And so this lineup falls flat here. But on the whole, felt pretty good with my DraftKings play yesterday. Had a lot of the things that I liked, the Dolphins, Bucky, but just couldn't get all the pieces coming together. Jayden Daniels. So it is what it is, but felt good about the reads on the slate as far as ownership projections, where steam was going, all of that good stuff. All right, let's look at the Deposit Kingdom contest. Those three lineups that you guys just saw, I tossed all of those into this 3-max contest. Did we? Yeah, I'm making sure we filled this. Yeah, we had to lower the size from 1,200 to 1,000 as, interest in DFS and all these contests wanes as the season goes on here. But happy to see we finished this. And yeah, shout out to Patrick here. I believe Patrick was in the chat. Here he is, Pat Moore Poker. You can see his username here, PM Moore. Took it down, saw that screenshot in the Deposit Kingdom Discord. Congratulations here. 186 points, has the Tua to Hill and Waddle stack, just like I did. Played Kareem Hunt and Brian Robinson. Holy cow, this is pretty, I was on my lineup. I was like, how did you win with Brian Robinson? I hadn't clicked over to your lineup yet. Jesus. Let's try this again. It was a Tua lineup, but it just was a skinny stack to Jaylen Waddle. Had Hunter Henry as the bring back, James Conner, Jahmyr Gibbs, Cortland Sutton, Calvin Ridley, Josh Jacobs in the Bears defense. What I really like about this lineup, and we talked about this a little bit on the cram, is how there was going to be a lot of people chasing value on this slate, but there wasn't a lot of attractive stuff to pay up for. And so this lineup just lives in the mid-range here. Not a single player, I guess, over 7,300. Gibbs, the most expensive piece here, and gets pretty good ownership percentages on all of this stuff. Sutton and Hunter Henry, the most popular plays in here, around 17%, and then Bears defense at 18%. But you can see here, did not have to be perfect in the Deposit Kingdom contest, was able to survive 10 points from Connor, able to survive 14 points from Calvin Ridley, 9 points from the tight end. But you get, the four really big scores. Tua drops 31, Gibbs drops 25, Sutton almost gets to 30, Waddle 31, and Josh Jacobs 31. So nice job there, identifying those top plays. Very strong lineup. This might be Ian here. Finished in second place. Okay, here we go. Here's the Caleb double stack. Caleb to DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. Look at this, man. Looking at these prices now, I'm like, this is such a sick team. I love this. Caleb Williams, 5,100, 2.3% ownership. DJ Moore, 5,500, 5.5%. Keenan Allen, 4,900, 0.6. And you get nearly 90 points from that block that cost you around $1,500, $500. Incredible. Incredible play there. Achane, Kareem Hunt, Cortland Sutton, TJ Hawkinson, Joe Mixon, and Buccaneers D. Oh yeah, and also had the correct Minnesota bring back. I guess you could add Jordan Addison as the bring back too. He smashed. But TJ Hawkinson filling out that tight end spot, 4,200. He sees his biggest target share of the year so far. Drops 21.4. Just a really nice, clean team. And then you didn't even get two off the board. You knew the stack was super contrarian. So then you play Achane, you play Kareem Hunt, you play Sutton in Buccaneers defense. So nice team there by This Might Be Ian. We got Pat, who took it down in the chat. Have only been a member for a week, which has been extremely plus EV. Thank you for the testimonial. Cooked up this beauty during the cram and also cooked up a Goff, Amon-Ra plus Taysom PR team, the last cram show. Thanks for the awesome content. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, I know, I think the cram shows are both fun and very useful as far as giving you guys ideas on how to build lineups on Sunday morning, draft those final teams. So you can get access to that by becoming a hand builder in OptoBro. That'll get you access to the crams on Sunday, DFS After Dark on Saturday. We had a really fun show with John Boy Beats on Saturday night. It was like a fun mix of talking strategy, learning about his process, talking about bankroll management, which is a thing that often goes under discussed. And I know some people appreciated that. Then we just had some fun building some lineups, drafting some teams as well. So you get the DFS After Darks on Saturday. And then this week, your membership will include that special one-off Battle Royale strategy video that I'm going to do instead of the Deposit Kingdom video. So congratulations, Pat, and appreciate the shout out for the memberships as well. All these teams with Chalk Sutton. Yeah, and that was happening yesterday too, right? Like on the cram, we simmed a few teams on the solver, and even forcing uniques, even forcing it to put in some of our favorite plays. Remember, we created that group where I was like, put one of Noah Brown, Xavier Worthy, Bucky Irving, and Aaron Jones. I think we're the four we said have at least. Even then, you were still getting a ton of Cortland Sutton and Jacoby Myers. And I do think that there's a takeaway there, right? It's, at some point, if the lineup is contrarian enough, it is going to beg you to jam the best plays because you've already pulled the levers. And I do think this lineup here by This Might Be Ian is a really good illustration of that. Already way off the board in not a bad way, but way off the board with a Caleb double stack with a Hawkinson bring back. You can jam the best plays after that. And, I learned that lesson too. If you guys use the Run the Sims Showdown product, which is really fun because you can tweak the actual inputs on, player market share, all of those kind of things that drive the projection. And there'll be sometimes, right, where you're like, okay, I think this projection on, I don't know, I'll just say Derrick Henry is way too high. And you're like, I'm going to take his, target share down from like 4% to 1%. I'm going to take his rushing share down to, 60%. And then you run the Sims and he's still popping. It's like, I tried to nuke this guy's role and he's still showing up over and over. Like those are the warning bells of, okay, even though every bone in your body wants to fade this, the projection is so good. The way the lineups are simming are telling you, you need these projected points to be profitable. So it's always a tough, tightrope to walk as far as getting in those contrarian plays that we all like to cook up while making sure we're still building lineups that are not, too far off the board to be successful. Panthers are officially feisty. Yeah. I feel like that's kind of an underreported story. Just that like Bryce Young was so bad that he got benched for Andy Dalton. We were talking about this franchise being in like a multi-year tailspin. Maybe they still are, they have ownership issues. They have a lot of issues, but there's some stuff to be excited about with the Panthers right now. Like Bryce Young, like hung in there against a tough Chiefs team. They're down a lot of weapons. Man, really scary stuff with Jatavian Sanders yesterday. But yeah, I'm with you. I think the Panthers are pretty fun. I like seeing, Leggett. The fact that they did it without Coker as well, who, has been a nice story for them this year as a young player. We didn't get to see much from Jonathan Brooks yesterday. I think he just had 7 carries, which I think was to be expected in his first game back. But yeah, things are not as dire for the Panthers as it seemed, 10 weeks ago. All right, here. I missed this before. Keith gifting out 10 memberships. Appreciate you, Keith. Did you hit something yesterday? I don't ever want to assume that someone couldn't come in here and gift memberships just on a whim, but generally these come from a big hit. So Keith, if I missed in the chat something you hit, shout it out here so I can pull that up and we'll take a look at it. But I appreciate that, Keith, with the memberships. James says, Pete, are we doing stuff for the Thanksgiving Day slate? Looks like some fun drafts, but they are 4-man drafts with only 3 games. Yeah, so as far as content, I'm going to be doing an article, my article for Fantasy Life. I'm not going to do it on the main slate this week. I am going to do it focused on Thanksgiving, and I plan to hit on strategy for the Thanksgiving contest on both Underdog and DraftKings. The one thing I will say, you mentioned it being the 4-man drafts. It is a very different game that we are playing than the 6-man drafts. It's kind of a similar concept to the 12-person drafts where the undrafted guys, those goalposts move in a different direction. And so the main dynamic that is going to happen, and you're not going to like my answer that I'm about to tell you, but there are going to be 4 quarterbacks who are drafted in 90+% of the drafts. And there are going to be 2 quarterbacks who are not drafted a ton. One of them is named Tommy DeVito, and one of them is named Cooper Rush. And you are not going to like what I'm about to tell you, but you are going to need to draft a lot of Cooper Rush and a lot of Tommy DeVito if you want to get it in good. Obviously, there are ways to win with using the other quarterbacks. There's some really fun spots on the slate. I always love playing Jordan Love on these Thanksgiving slates, but the ownership gap you are going to get from, the 3rd and 4th quarterbacks down all the way to Cooper Rush and Tommy DeVito, it's going to be massive. It's going to be like 90% down to 10%. So there are some unique angles there. The same thing is going to happen with the tight end position. Your Theo Johnsons are going to have a massively different ownership than the Tucker Crafts and Sam Laporta. So that's the thing you want to think about specifically at the onesies is 4 quarterbacks, 4 tight ends, generally going in each draft. Anything beyond that threshold is going to come with significant less ownership. And yeah, I think it's also a slate that it's helpful to keep track of your combos as well, because it's easy to rip off a ton of drafts, and it's also easy to get funneled to the same stuff over and over again. So yes, very excited about the Thanksgiving slate. I've also been told there's going to be a decent amount of side contests as well. I recommend, depending what your goals are, depending what your bankroll is, take advantage of the rake free contest, take advantage of the smaller contests where it's a little easier to realize your ROI, and then lean into where you think your edge is. Is your edge uncovering a sleeper that you think is going to be drafted 10% of the time and you want to play Kevontae Turpin? Okay, maybe the big contest is a good place to do that. Is your edge, I really like a team spot and I want to over correlate the Dolphins in this matchup and have 3 to 4 of them, then maybe you want to be in a smaller contest. So think through those angles, how you like to play, what your goals are, and then you can tweak your strategy accordingly. How is everybody on Bucky when it seemed like white split? I mean, if you watch my content all week, I laid out the case for Bucky. I laid out the case for it on the Gems video. Rashod White had a series of really good games, but all of those games were against really elite offenses, juggernaut teams, against the Chiefs, against the Niners, against the Ravens. That's his role. He is a really good pass catching back when they are in trailing scripts. When they're throwing a lot, you see a ton of Rashod White. When they are in positive game scripts, think back to that game against the Saints where Sean Tucker ran wild. They are very content to run the ball with their better rushers. And Bucky Irving and Sean Tucker are far better, far more efficient rushers than Rashod White. So this game against a truly broken Giants team always set up as a massive rush efficiency game for them. And that was going to point me always to Bucky Irving. His role has been elite. here, like we can go look at the Fantasy Life utilization report, and you can compare the utilization between these two over the past few weeks. Like, let's look at them even coming out of before the bye here. In week 12, he had similar amounts of rushing attempts to Rachaad White, 12 to 12, and then was even running more routes. He had a better utilization score. Rachaad White was down here in the 5.1 in 2 games. Bucky was at 7 and 8.1. This has been a role that has been increasing, and then you got the perfect matchup with it. So I think being on Bucky was not, some impossible thing. It wasn't some crazy dart throw. I think the trends were clearly pointing in that direction for yesterday's matchup. Ooh, Keith, you got a Dog Bowl seat. Okay. What's your username in the Discord? Are you because I saw some conversation in there. Are you Sicko Dank or are you Young Keist? I'm guessing Young Keist. Let me know. I'm trying to connect usernames across sites, but congratulations. We'll look at the Dog Bowl here in a second. Roofing Man finally made money with a decent 12th place finish in the Deposit Kingdom. Wish I had Waddle instead of Hill. Yeah, man. Oh, there you are, Roofing Man. That hurts. Yeah, the Tyreek Hill 9.8. There was that drive too where he had, it seemed like they were trying to get him a touchdown. He got tackled at the 2, and then they were looking for him on the next play. Just couldn't get quite home. Man, I will just say yesterday, there were so many near touchdowns and so many things that were tilting. There was the Nico Collins touchdown that was called back. My best BR team, I can show you guys that in a second. That had a Stroud Nico team, which would have when you're getting an extra 12, 13 points, that goes a long way on your best team. There was the Trey McBride stuff, him just jumping up and down wide open in the end zone, and Kyler either not seeing him or sailing it over his head. Don't even get me started on Amir Abdullah. We'll get to that when we recap some of the pick'ems. There were just a lot of near misses, close calls for these players that were kind of key parts of my portfolio yesterday. Even Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving should have had another touchdown on that drive. He was doing the Barkley thing where he gets tackled at the 1. And then they gave Sean Tucker a carry. Rachaad White got a goal line touchdown there. So yeah, I feel like Bucky could have had 35 pretty easily. What's up, Nez? Appreciate that. Look at everybody giving out YouTube memberships today. Appreciate that. I'm going to make the video for the Battle Royale strategy. I'm going to make that the lowest tier. So anyone who's a YouTube member will get access to that. And I appreciate all the gifts. And then, After Dark and Hand Builders will be the other tiers as usual, but we'll make that BR video available to any YouTube members this week. Okay, you are Young Keist. Yeah, congratulations. We'll take a look at that lineup in a second. I think we're about done here on DraftKings. So yeah, let's go ahead and head over to Underdog. I did not have a great week. I returned some money in Battle Royale. I did max it here, 150 entries, returned 660. I whiffed on the bomb, whiffed on fullback dive. So yeah, it was one of those weeks I did not get home. But yesterday was a week where my takes I thought were good. Like the stuff I was on was good. I didn't necessarily love how my teams came together. I was really behind on drafting Sunday morning, and I think I had 90 BRs to do plus the bomb and fullback dive. And I just tried to cram too much in, and I didn't get to, give the attention to detail that I generally like to do with my portfolio. So that was a bit of a bummer and something I'm hoping to correct this week. But let's first check out the big Battle Royale here. BLS or BL Spoon took it down 148 points. And this is kind of one of those classic lineups that I'm just not going to have in BR. So it's a Jayden Daniels to Terry McLaurin stack, Jahmyr Gibbs, Josh Jacobs, Cortland Sutton, Trey McBride. And it's not that it's a bad lineup. It's just that every single one of these players was getting drafted in contests. And normally for me, when I get to my last pick here, I am going to be trying to grab a Bucky, a Tony Pollard, a Josh Downs, one of those guys to kind of help differentiate this. But all you needed was the perfect picks here. I will say one thing they did was they weren't afraid to reach for some of these picks. You see how this draft started for them. They took Jahmyr Gibbs, at pick 4, and then they take Jayden Daniels at pick 9 with their second pick. And why I think this is sharp is because you'll notice the other thing with the top lineups yesterday is really the only other combo that was succeeding was Jahmyr Gibbs with Nico Collins. And the reason for that is when that cluster of players who are going top 10, when none of them go nuclear, the field's going to get funneled to the same combo of players who are just the only good players, essentially, the only ones who could, viably end up in a winning lineup. And so this drafter passed on probably a pretty good wide receiver at that range. They passed on a Justin Jefferson. They passed on, maybe it was Nico Collins. Maybe it was Tyreek Hill, and went ahead and just grabbed Jayden Daniels. And so even though all the players they took were drafted in 100% of contests, they got on a structure that was unique. They avoided a landmine and were able to get on a different roster construction. So then they come back. Let's see what their 4th round pick is. Oh, they got McBride late. They got Sutton late. So they came back and grabbed Jacobs at 21 and McLaurin at 16. So their 3-4 picks were McLaurin and Jacobs. Again, not hesitating to reach ahead to grab those guys. And then they wrapped it up with a McBride fall and Cortland Sutton at pick 33. So I like them going out of their way to kind of throw ADP out the window at the top of the board. And I think it is a good reminder, right? It's a lot easier, I think, to conceptualize throwing ADP out at the end of the draft board, scrolling down. But it's okay to throw it out at the top as well, specifically if you're getting to unique combos. And we talked about this on Off and On the Clock on Friday as well, where it is so easy to just do the same things over and over again. And certain combos pop up a ton. This week I was looking at the data on the Draft Caddy via the in-game syndicate, which shows you the most popular combos. And it was like so many Christian McCaffrey teams had Travis Kelce because their ADPs were correlated. CMC at pick 1, Travis Kelce with an ADP of 10. So the CMC drafter, not even quite realizing it, is just like every time, boom, Travis Kelce with CMC over and over again. So I was really working to not take Travis Kelce with CMC. I was trying to do Brock Bowers there, anything else, just knowing that one of those combos was going to be so overly represented. So nice lineup here by BL Spoon. Curious if they went into this draft with a specific plan to avoid that, or if they were just kind of popping around, but good stuff nonetheless. Patriarchy here, second place, had the more kind of chalk pairing at the 1-2 turn with Gibbs and Nico. Nico doesn't go nuts, but because he was better than the other late first round picks, better than Tyreek Hill, better than Kelce and all of those guys, he ends up being part of a second place lineup. And then all the other places are the same. And this is probably more what one of my lineups would look like, where I would prefer to play Jayden Daniels naked, Jayden Daniels, Nico, Cortland Sutton. But in this case, you did need the stack to be in first place. And there's FC Huey. I knew I recognized that username here. Thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Nice little 4th place finish here from Jayden, from FC Huey, Jayden Daniels, Jahmyr Gibbs, Josh Jacobs, Nico Collins, Terry McLaurin, and Jonnu. So had the Jonnu 19.2, which outscored or just barely got outscored by Trey McBride there. But a nice team here. See, this is the lineup that looks like one I could have gotten on. I wasn't stacking a ton of Jaden with Terry. I had it a couple times, but I love this scroll down here to Jonnu Smith, especially on a team that didn't have other pieces. It's like, okay, I miss out on Tyreek Hill. I take Nico instead. If this Dolphins offense goes off and Tyreek isn't the piece you need, I didn't have access to Achane at the top of the board. I'm passing on Tyreek. How's a way I can benefit? Well, taking either Jaylen Waddle or Jonnu Smith there. So nice team from FC Huey. Yeah, man, the Trey McBride stuff is massively tilting. Not a single receiving touchdown on the year. Yeah, I mean, I posted this photo in the Fantasy Life newsletter, or in my recap column this morning. I linked to it. Let me show you this. I mean, I'm sure some of you guys saw this, but someone on Twitter grabbed these screen grabs. Look at this shit. This is Trey McBride. This is him. Here he is. With just right here. Just right here, Kyler. Just completely wide open. And Kyler can't get it done. Unbelievable stuff. FC Huey says the second half of the afternoon games was crazy sweat at the top of the main BR. Oh yeah, man. Anytime you're up here, it's wild because the margins are so thin. Every play changes things. It's really hard to like know exactly what you're rooting against. You know, like sure, you can tab down and see the lineups directly underneath you, but you are still susceptible to a single touchdown in a random game vaulting someone else over you. And then even with really flat payout structures, which is nice, I mean, it's still really big swings. You see like a fraction of a point separating some of these teams up here, and that can be a $2,000 point, you know, that quickly. You know, you can go from 142, you know, all the way down to 134, and that's like a $7,500, $8,500 swing just over one touchdown, essentially. So it's both an incredible experience to be up there at the top and getting to have that sweat, but it can also be very painful and disorienting as well. Congratulations on the big day. Schmo here as well. Got 6th in the BR. Holy shit, this is awesome. Got 6th in the BR thanks to the giveaway. Got extra cash for more lineups this week. Can confirm more lineups helps out. That was the entire thesis of the giveaway. So Schmo was one of the 3 who was on the was on Travis Kelce from the giveaway, came on after dark, did the head-to-head, and then used you got second place. So I believe you ended up getting the $200. Mark got the 500, you got the 200, and you turn that in to extra lineups, and then you get 6th place here with a Jayden Daniels, Gibbs, Jacobs, Nico, McLaurin, George Kittle team. Dude, you love to fucking see it. Took the giveaway, $200, and ran it up to 4,500. Love it. Congrats, Schmo. Hold your tongue on CMC. That was one thing I feel good about. I talked through this on the cram, or maybe I said it on After Dark, where I thought Achane was the 101 in BRs after the Brock Purdy news. And my thought was CMC still had a really nice floor. You knew the touches were going to be there, but I thought the ceiling was dinged, like massively dinged. That his paths to getting 30 points in a Brandon Allen-led offense on the road against a pretty good Packers team, I thought that was something that needed to be reflected in how we were drafting. I wouldn't have faulted anyone for taking Joe Mixon over him either. I think he was still, firmly, the 1-2, 1-3. But yeah, I did. I had Achane ahead of him in my ranks, which, put me on a much bigger Achane position and a much lighter CMC position there. And it's hard, right? Like we all stare at CMC's name and it's like, it's fucking CMC, and like, how do I get off of this? But man, going to Brandon Allen there is a pretty big deal, especially in this iteration of CMC, right? Still coming back from injury. I don't think he has quite the explosive ability that we saw previously. He's still going to catch a ton of passes, still going to get the goal line roll, still an elite role, but I thought it was worth dinging CMC a little bit yesterday. All right, so I had some teams in the main BR that were kind of kicking around near the top here. You can see my top team. This was what I was talking about, the CJ Stroud to Nico tilt. So I had a CJ Stroud to Nico, had Gibbs, Josh Jacobs, JSN, and then Jonnu on this one. So that touchdown that was called back, that would have been 10, 12, 13. It's like probably close to like 14 or 15 points there that gets you up to like 138. And obviously there would have been other teams with Nico and there's other kind of factors at play, but probably would have put me in the top 15, top 20 if that gets home. So that was disappointing. This team was one of my favorite teams that I thought had a real chance until the McLaurin element, because I had naked Jayden Daniels, and then I had both of my gems from the video, Bucky and Tony Pollard. And then I had Nico, Tyreek Hill, and George Kittle. So this lineup was doing really well early. And I'm sitting here looking at this, Pollard's crushing, Bucky. I knew I still had George Kittle in my back pocket. And so this was probably the one lineup I was most excited about, because I was like, if Tyreek Hill can just fucking score, and then that Jaden bomb goes to Noah Brown instead, I was like, all right, this thing could really cook here. Always fun to be able to have a lineup sweat with some of the gems from the video. That doesn't get home. Had another Jayden Daniels team here. This one did have Terry McLaurin. Like I said, I didn't have a ton of those, but where I was using Terry McLaurin, I was going to get another late scroll. So I had an Aaron Jones scroll on this team. This one also had the CeeDee Lamb bring back, which didn't quite get there. And then, so just some other lineups here, a Bo Nix to Cortland Sutton. I didn't run a ton of these stacks to Sutton and McLaurin. I did it a couple of times. That obviously worked out. But this team had Amon-Ra instead of Nico when it needed Nico there to make a little bit more noise. I'll show you guys my exposures yesterday. So you can see here, by putting Achane ahead of CMC, that ended up getting me on a pretty overweight position. He was my most drafted player at 28%, but then Tyreek Hill not far behind him. That hurts. Had a ton of CeeDee. You can see CeeDee and Mike Evans were two kind of big stands I made. CeeDee was more, like Friday, Saturday. And then once Mike Evans looked completely good to go, I started slamming Mike Evans at his ADP. So that got him up to my third most drafted. You can see here was pretty heavily invested in the elite tight ends at the top, Kelsey, Bowers, McBride. Had a ton of Josh Jacobs, my second most drafted running back here. So that was good process there. Looking at my running backs, Achane, Josh Jacobs, Gibbs, Mixon, Connor, Hunt, Ken Walker, and then McCaffrey was down here at 12.5%. So not too bad at the top. And then had my scrolls, Tony Pollard, 8%, Bucky, 8%. So I overall, like with my exposures yesterday, felt pretty good. Maybe wish I was a little bit more diversified on the tight end stuff. I think in hindsight, just like process, not just on results, but shifting some of this Kelsey and Bowers to a little bit more Hawkinson, Schultz, Kraft, I think is something I would probably rather do as opposed to this big position here. But was happy with kind of my portfolio there. You can see my quarterbacks, Anthony Richardson, Geno was my gem, Jayden Daniels, Bo Nix, and then just lots of stacks around the rest of these guys, Baker, Mahomes, Tua, Stroud, Kyler, etc. I want to look at the Deposit Kingdom League. I want to check in on the Dog Bowl. I want to shout out one of our viewers in the Wildcat as well. But let's first take a look at the Deposit Kingdom Weekly League. And before we do, I'm getting a little parched, so we're going to get a little refill here on the coffee. All right, let me catch up on the chat. All right. Shout out to DJRJ21, takes down the Deposit Kingdom contest here with 132.68 points. Really nice lineup here. Tua to Jonnu stack. So both of these guys with pretty deep ADPs, 34.5 for Tua, 34.4. Does go with the double stack with Tyreek Hill. Again, a point we continue to drive home. You can lean into the correlation in smaller field. This lineup is not going to be able to win first place in the main BR with 7.3 points from Tyreek Hill. but being on this Dolphins block where you get to Jonnu, where you get to Tua, that is enough to get it done. So really sharp there. And then obviously you hit the other three pieces outside of the Dolphin stack: Gibbs, Jacobs, Cortland Sutton. Nice lineup there by DJR. E Mostert here. I don't know if they tagged me. I think they tagged me in the Discord, I believe. Congratulations to E Mostert here. Had Jayden Daniels, Jacobs, Aaron Jones, Nico Collins, Cortland Sutton, and Travis Kelce. Nice squad here. Also did a little dancing around ADP, right? Took Nico at 5 and then took, Kelce at 8, a little bit ahead of ADP. Came back and got a little slide on Jayden Daniels. Went and then grabbed Josh Jacobs, then Cortland Sutton, and then Aaron Jones as a scroll at the end. I like that team. Jay Housel finishes in 3rd with a 3 wide receiver lineup. Don't see a ton of those, but you can get away with it here when you hit Jayden Daniels to McLaurin. Had a little JSN Trey McBride mini, and then Achane and Cortland Sutton in this lineup there to take 3rd place down. Which one Rahul, are you? Oh, you're the top here. Nice, dude. Drafted this during the cram. Look at all the run good we get from the cram. Look at that. I mean, last week I drafted that team that finished 2nd place in the Flea Flicker. I'm telling you, there's something about the stream magic this year. We had the Deposit Kingdom team that finished 2nd. Even the team, we drafted one with John Boy Beats. It didn't end up holding, but we were on a 2 stack on a team we drafted. I'm telling you, man, the cram, the stream shows, there's something about it in the air that's working out this year. Congrats there, Rahul. Anyone else in the chat who had a top finish who want me to look at their lineup, let me know here. I see our guy Vogie Berra down here with a Daniels to Ertz and McLaurin. Again, a nice little double stack that can get you a nice score in a smaller contest. Sam Olsen with a Bo Nix to Cortland Sutton with a Brock Bowers bring back. Good stuff. Let's check out the Dog Bowl here. Final week of the Dog Bowl. Last chance to qualify. And we have our guy, Keith, who is in the chat here in 3rd. Let's check out Keith's lineup. Had Tua, Bucky. Let's fucking go, Bucky. And man, this is sick. Tua to Jaylen Waddle and Jonnu Smith, JSN, Nico Collins, Bucky Irving. Love this lineup. Awesome team. You take Nico at the top, come back, grab JSN in the 2nd round, then grab, let's see, where did you go next? Bucky in the 3rd, come back in the, I'm going to guess the 4th for Jaylen Waddle. Then you grab Jonnu Smith in the 5th, and then wrap it up with Tua in the 6th. Very clean lineup, very logical lineup. Really good stuff there from Keith. Congratulations, man. Excited to meet you in Dallas in a couple of weeks. And I believe Sicko Dank was also in the was in the Discord. Had one of the funnier messages you'll see. I got to read this message because it cracked me up. He goes, oh no, this was young Keith. I think that was you, Keith. You said feel like a dick because I know everyone's been going hard for the seat, but this was my one Dog Bowl draft of the season. Maybe I was mixing you two up. No, Sicko Dank had a Sicko lineup here. Sicko is in the Discord as well, but this team's a fucking fever dream right here, man. Caleb Williams with no DJ Moore or Keenan Allen. I wonder if Sicko Dank, I don't know if he said, did he get sniped on one of these quarterbacks? I guess, I mean, did the backdoor McLaurin and Zach Ertz, Cortland Sutton, Gibbs Irving, and then just Caleb Williams as the last pick? Naked Caleb Williams gets it done there with the phantom stack for Washington. Just wild, right? Because it's like the the opposite sides of his picks were the nuts too, right? Having Jayden Daniels, maybe not nuts in this contest just because the opportunity cost of where he was drafted, but just raw points. Jayden Daniels goes nuts. And then DJ Moore and Keenan would have been both awesome picks in the Dog Bowl as last, 6-round picks there, who each went over 20 points. So gets it done. Naked Caleb Williams, McLaurin, and Ertz without Jayden Daniels. Sicko Dank with a sicko lineup there. Keith shouting out off and on the clock for the Tua Waddle Jonnu shout. Yeah, Nez was all over that. Yeah, we were talking about it too. We were saying it's like everyone thinks of Tua as this low upside quarterback, but it was like one of these days he's going to get home for a big score. And of course, he couldn't keep up with, the Jayden Daniels of the world, but supported massive games for Waddle, Achane, and Jonnu. So really good stuff there. And then E-Coxer here, E-Coxer 10, had a Jayden Daniels, a team. Oh my God, a Noah Gray. I hadn't looked at this yet. I did not see that we got a Noah Gray selection in the Dog Bowl. That's some sick shit right there. And I feel like it has been hard to win these Dog Bowl seats with elite quarterback. So this is a crazy team to be able to get it done. Grabs Amon-Ra in the first, survives 9 points, then grabs Jayden Daniels at the end of the second, comes back, grabs Josh Jacobs in the third. This must have been an earlier week team, gets Bucky in the fourth. I know Bucky had started to move up a little bit, maybe not I guess not for sure a late week team. And then grabs DJ Moore in the fifth round and Noah Gray with the last or near last pick in this draft. Holy shit. Noah Gray taking you to the Dog Bowl. Good shit. All right. I want to give a shout out to one of our viewers here in the Wildcat. They sent me an email this morning. Steven WC23. I think this is Steven here too. I might be wrong. He said in his email he's going to become a YouTube member. But I want to read you some of this email from Steven. He said, I am Steven WC23 on Underdog. I found Underdog this summer and eventually your podcast. I just want to say to you and other friends of yours have helped me a lot. I've played ESPN games for years. I am 74, by the way, maybe one of the oldest playing I would imagine. And you might be wondering, Pete, what if he's catfishing you? Do you really think he's 74? He sent it from an AOL email address. So I am inclined to believe that Steve is actually a 74-year-old Underdog crusher. He went on to shout out the Deposit Kingdom, the Off and On the Clock, the Badge Bros, Nez and John. And as he's gotten, Battle Royale pilled here and been watching all of the streams and all of that good stuff, said he became a Badge Bros member on Friday. And he likes seeing how the Badge Bros are constructing their teams and seeing those guys in the draft. So cool story here from Steven, 74 years old, near the top of the leaderboards in the Wildcat with a Tua, Jahmyr Gibbs, Josh Jacobs, Nico Collins, Jaylen Waddle, and Jonnu Smith. Awesome, awesome stuff there. Love that team, the Tua to Waddle and Jonnu double, Gibbs, Jacobs, Nico. Great stuff all around. Keep it up, Steven, and congratulations on the big hit, and thank you for all of the kind words here. There's the God. You guys are on fire here. Greatest generation, not even a boomer. We got to get Steven and Neil together for an old guy stream. There you go, Neil. You finally found your co-host. Steven, actually, this is what you do, buddy. You need to stream all 150 of your Best Ball Mania drafts next year and just swipe Neil's crowd. Neil really thought no one could ever attempt to break his record as the oldest person to ever stream all 150. Steven, I feel confident that if you do this, no one will ever break your record. No one will ever break your record if you do it at age 75 next year. Steven getting cooked and shouted out. Sorry, I couldn't help it. But no, I really appreciate the email, Steven, and all the kind words, and love seeing your success. And it's fun to see a slightly different demographic as well at times. You know, not too many ladies watch these shows. You know, not too many older people watch these shows. So it's nice to see that we still have a wider demographic reach with the best ball content. All right. Good stuff there. And I believe, yeah, I don't know if I recognize any of these other usernames. Was there anything else we wanted to see here? Badge Bros Brawl, who took down that guy Fred, wins the Badge Bros Brawl. DeBomb, who won DeBomb? Bodie won DeBomb with a Daniels, Montgomery, Jacobs, Nico, McLaurin, Kelsey. I missed a min cash into bomb. I'm just now seeing Tua, Jacobs, JT. Oh man, JT really boned me. Tua to Tyreek. Man, this team almost min cash just almost solely because of Tua and Josh Jacobs. That's gross. It's a gross team. All right. I want to show you guys one of the sickest pick 'em sweats that I've ever had. So for those of you guys who were watching the cram, we built a few pick'ems. I think we built 4 or 5, but one of the last ones we built was this 80x bomb. This was the bomb here. It was Devon Bailey. We slid him to the max. We slid Devon Bailey up to 69.5 receiving yards. Then we slid Bo Nix up to 249.5 passing yards. And then we slid Amir Abdullah to the max, 39.5 receiving yards. This was a $25 entry that was going to pay out $2,000. 25 to 2,000. Amir Abdullah had 37 receiving yards. And we're heading in to the fourth quarter. And I remember when Vele caught his pass, he was at like 63 or 64. He caught like a 6-yard pass to get over this. And Bo Nix got over, I think, on the Cortland Sutton touchdown. And it was like, holy shit, the Raiders are down. Amir Abdullah is playing every single snap. Rest in peace, Dylan Lobby. We're going to get it. We're going to get home on this. I mean, it's one check down. It's one check down. He's on the field for every snap. What preceded was the most agonizing quarter of my life. And normally, again, I'm fairly zen with my football sweats. I'm normally like pretty chilled out. I was locked the fuck in for this sweat. I knew so many people from the cram had this. Being able to turn 25 or 5 or 10 into an 80x or whatever. I was like, this is gonna feed families this Thanksgiving. This is gonna put turkeys on the table. And it couldn't fucking happen. And the way this unfolded with Gardner Minshew getting hurt, there was a play when Desmond Ridder came in and Amir Abdullah was just wide open in the middle of the field. And Desmond Ridder threw a fucking rocket into the ground. I mean, just completely wide open. Completely wide open. You know, it's like, I knew Desmond Ridder was bad. You don't realize how bad he is until you need just 3 more goddamn yards from Amir Abdullah. Just 3 more. Just Desmond Ridder. Just a little bit of touch. Literally what you're paid to do. You are theoretically one of the 50 best quarterbacks in the world. One of the 50 best in the world. And you can't just throw a little bit of touch to Amir Abdullah. God damn it, guys. That was close. I wanted this one so bad for the cram heads. A $2,000 pick 'em hit would have really salvaged the day. So that was a bummer. That was a bummer. All right, speaking of bummers, I mentioned my best ball advance rate finally met its maker last night. I feel like every week we pull up my advance rate and I'm right around expectation, right around where I should be, average drafter, 16% of teams. And you go and refresh this morning, and we're down to a 12.7% advance rate. Barkley came and just absolutely bodied me last night. I think I legit lost 6 or 7 teams because if you want to look at, yesterday was an awesome day for my exposures. Not at the very top, but Bucky Irving, 15.3%, goes nuts. JSN has another game. Kittle continues to roll. Jordan Addison down here at 13.3% has a massive day. I thought I was really going to be cooking yesterday. And then Barkley comes. And he comes for us all. I was hiding. I was like just barely surviving my Barkley fade. I guess the one silver lining is, I think last time we looked up my Barkley teams, I wasn't even advancing my Barkley teams. Now I'm finally advancing 2 of my Barkley teams. That's what happens when he drops 40 points. Let's see what my Barkley teams look like. Brock Purdy, Tua, and Bo Nix. Not a bad quarterback room. Barkley, ETN, James Conner, Algier, Eli Mitchell. Whew. When was this team drafted? June 12th. Yeah, back in the Eli Mitchell days of drafts. Tyreek Hill, Jaylen Waddle, Christian Kirk, rest in peace. Brian Thomas might as well be resting in peace. Cortland Sutton, Josh Palmer, Ricky Pearsall, Marvin Mims, George Kittle, Jonnu Smith. So not bad. Having the Jonnu, Barkley, and then the Tua double stack with Waddle coming on. Only one dead roster spot. Truly dead roster spot there with Kirk and I guess Eli, yeah. Sutton and Nix, nice stack there. Brock with Pearsall and Kittle. So that team has some life. Any team with Barkley has some life. My other Barkley team, that's what's nice about this being a good segment. There's only 2 Barkley teams to look at. It could be just a very quick segment. Lamar Jackson, Geno Smith, Barkley, Pollard, Chase Brown, Ty Chandler, Braylon Allen. Okay. I like that running back room too. Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans is back. Keenan Allen, JSN, Lockett, Jacoby, McMillan, Devontae Walker, Noah Brown, then Evan Ingram, Cole Kmet. I don't mind this team either. Devontae Walker. Yeah, fucking Lamar. I had to, right? Had to. Apparently, I just had to tack on Devontae Walker. Unreal. What do we think the Barkley just advance rate of? It has to be over 50%. 53%. Look at our guy Mathology here. Still in first place. Shout out Mathology. The best team in Best Ball Mania. It just goes to show there's a direct correlation between horniness and regular season success in Best Ball Mania. Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Jayden Daniels. Yeah, this is the same team we looked at last week. Achane, Barkley, Mixon, Brown, Irving. Well, now my Barkley teams don't look as good. Chase McLaurin, James Williams, Josh Downs, Darnell Mooney, Jalen Tolbert, Johnny Wilson, Freiermuth, Gesicki, Zach Ertz. Yeah, he shouldn't be allowed to. What's really crazy is every single one of these players on this team have a smoking hot wife or girlfriend. That's Mathology's process, you know. He was deep in the lab, checking the Instagrams for all the wags, and then landed on this team. Oh, man. What is, what do we, Bucky's advance rate has to be, where are our Bucky bros at? Bucky, 21% advance rate. Of course, Mathology has both of them. What's my Bucky? I'm only advancing 2 of my 23 Bucky teams. Come on. Let me have some more Bucky in my life. Only 2 of 23 Bucky teams? Look at that. That's sad. And Patrick says only 2.5 of my Bucky teams are expected to advance. Fix your algorithm. Fix it, Patrick. 10 of these Bucky teams are going to advance. Jayden Daniels, Aaron Rodgers, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Chase Brown, Jalen Wright, Bucky, Garrett Wilson, Zay Flowers, T. Higgins, Xavier Worthy, JSN, Jerry Jeudy, Javon Baker, Bowers, Conklin, Jatavian Sanders. Aaron Rodgers. What a dog shit player that is. One more coffee pour. In 30 minutes, ADP chasing will be kicking off. I think here what we should do is I think we should check out the Guillotine Leagues. Then I think we should do some Monday Night Football pick'ems. And then I think we should do a first look, try to squeeze in a turkey draft. Take a quick lay of the land here. Man, that's a bummer. Just got news. Josh Downs is considered week to week in a long shot to play in week 13 with his shoulder injury. That's disappointing. Here's a little nugget from the Coach Speak Index for our turkey slate here. Matt LaFleur talking about his backfield. We have confidence in Emmanuel Wilson and Chris Brooks. We may have to lean on them a little bit more next game because of Josh Jacobs' workload today. Little scroll down for Emmanuel Wilson in your gobble drafts. All right, let's check out my guillotine. I actually have a sweat in one of mine, and I'm not excited about it. So I know Star Kindler feels betrayed. Where was Kindler? You have more than 2 Barkley teams. We were betrayed. I also have him in this industry guillotine league, and it's nice to have one Barkley share in a manage because he dropped fucking 46 points last night. So I am not getting executed in this one. I still have Lamar Jackson to go tonight. So this team's doing good. I had spent a lot of money on CMC a couple weeks back. That's not feeling as great right now, but we do have Achane on this one. For those of you guys who aren't familiar with the Guillotine Leagues, I know we mention it every week on here, but every week a team's eliminated and their entire roster goes into the free agency pool. So along the way, you can slowly accumulate super teams here. I might have to think through my tight end stuff as well. Now that Mike Evans is back, Cade Otton had been such a nice floor ceiling combo at tight end. I might have to go spend there. Even made some pretty bad start-sit decisions on this one too. Waddle, Bucky. I should have played Bucky over Javonte. I don't know what I was thinking there. Actually, I know what I was thinking, and I forgot to set my lineup on Sunday. I set my lineup like early week, just seeing who has the buys, and then I forgot. So that's what happened there. The Fantasy Life League, though, I am on the hook tonight. I am on the hook. I have a 1v1, my Zay Flowers versus Matt Friedman's Derrick Henry. That's my sweat tonight. And I actually have to catch 2 points on him. So you can see here, I'm at 82.82. I have Zay Flowers. My team really struggled. Kareem Hunt, Kyron Williams, Debo, JSN, Metcalf, Bowers. I had a lot of guys on bye. No Chase Brown, no Bijan, Devontae Smith. The playing Bowers over Kittle really stung. That point swing is pretty massive there, 7.8 to 20. And so now Friedman over here just has Derrick Henry. I think I'm definitely live. I think that the Chargers run defense has been pretty solid. I think it's a little easier to throw on them. So going to need a Zay Flowers game to stay alive in this guillotine. Let's check out the Deposit Kingdom though. See what we got going on over here. Man. So it looks like we have a bit of a sweat tonight. So Anita hand job, is down 0.9 points, but has Lamar. And then Let Keenan Eat has Herbert, Henry, and Flowers. So that the actual sweat here is probably Chad Candles, right? Because if we look at projected points here, it's basically Anita versus Chad, because Chad is done with 94. Or sorry, yeah, is done with 94, and Anita has 65. So, man, Anita needs just a monster Lamar game, as in like 30 points. So we shall see here, man. This is the thing. It's like, it sucks so bad when you get like the floor games from every single one of your players. Tracy sub 10, Connor sub 10, Pickens sub 10, his worst game since Russell Wilson took over. Josh Downs gets hurt, sub 10. Kareem Hunt can't take advantage of the world's juiciest matchup. Marvin Harrison doesn't get there. Kelsey gets cucked by Gray. Brutal run out there for Anita. This sounds like an ADP chasing conversation. 12 weeks through, who is the worst pick in the first 2 rounds from their ADPs aside from injury? Chat saying Marv. Yeah, obviously if you take injury out of it, I think so. Sounds about right. All right, let's build some pick'ems. There's a few angles that I was looking at that I like here. We can pull up the Fantasy Life tool and get some ideas as well. I was reading Matt Irby's quick slant piece over at Legendary Upside. He does really good previews on this game. I always like getting your guys' input as well. If you guys have looked in the lobby and see some things that you like. There was one. So one of the things I've been liking a little bit are taking lowers for touchdowns. You know, our pick'em that we hit on the Shipcast on Thursday included Jerry Jeudy, no score. One that jumped out to me was Rashod Bateman, no score. You like look at these odds. So like Mark Andrews, no score is 0.67. Like I'd be way more scared about Mark Andrews. Just, you know, they'll look for him in the red zone, but Bateman's is the exact same. Bateman, they're giving him the same probability to not score. So I like, if you're building Charger stuff and you just need one Ravens piece to make it work, I do really like Bateman no score. And obviously it's a negative multiplier, but if you're making up for it in another spot, which I think there are some spots you can make up for it, I like it a lot. You know, basically if you have 2 other angles you really like, and then you're struggling to find that Ravens piece, the lower on touchdowns for some of those ancillary pieces. Some other angles, we don't have to lock this in. I'm just going to toss a few in the idea box that I like. Gus Edwards to score a touchdown. Revenge game. They've been using him near the goal line. I think him at a 3x multiplier there. I think they're going to be looking to get Gus a score. I saw Dalton Cates over at Stealing Lines, the betting Substack that he does with Gretsch. He liked J.K. Dobbins under 12.5 rush attempts, which I thought seemed pretty solid. Obviously, there's a negative doc on there. You know, they're using Gus more. He only had 11 last week. Ravens really tough to run on. They also do some shenanigans at the goal line with Hassan Haskins. So I thought this kind of correlated nicely too, where you have Gus scoring a touchdown and J.K. Dobbins lower on attempts. The other one I like there's 2 I like from a slide perspective. You know, when I think of guys like Quentin Johnston and Isaiah Likely, you know, the most likely outcomes are they don't hit their median, but when they do hit, they're generally sailing over it just because of how they hit in a big play. And I do really want to attack this Ravens secondary. So I like taking slides on Quentin Johnston, and I like Ladd too, but it's just it's a bigger gap here as far as 68.5 receiving yards. So I think there's some stuff you can do here, sliding Quentin Johnston up to, 69.5. I tend to like that. The other angle with Quentin Johnston that I actually liked was longest reception. We've seen the Ravens really get beat deep, and you actually don't have to get that high up for a pretty nice multiplier. I was kind of IDing this 39.5 for a bomb play from Quentin Johnston. Can see what it is for Ladd too. Longest reception. Yeah, so you can get him at 2.77 for 39.5. So maybe it would be fun if we do an entry where we do one with QJ longest reception and one with Ladd. But I really like these multipliers because my thought here is the Chargers are still such a run-heavy team. Their volume is really low. And this is one of the things Matt Irby wrote up, but when they are passing, they are hitting for explosive. They have a higher rate of explosives than expected, but they just don't have the volume. So I kind of like not playing yards as much with these guys and just saying, hey, can we get one big play against this weak Ravens secondary? Two others I liked, and then we can try to like mix and match, and I'll get your guys' thoughts on them. Disley has just been rock solid this year, and it's a really good matchup, and we're getting a 1.1x for Disley over 4.5 receptions. He didn't get there last week, but scored the touchdown the week previously against Tennessee. And I just think Chargers are going to have to throw a little bit more. I actually think Disley with Dobbins correlates pretty well. If you're taking Dobbins lower than 12.5 rushing attempts, maybe they're doing a little bit more of trying to move the chains with Disley through the air. So that's another one I'll toss in the idea box. And then the final one I liked was Isaiah Likely sliderz. Again, most likely not to hit, but if you need a good multiplier here with how he's used downfield, you can slide him up to, 39.5 for 1.52, or I kind of like this 49.5 for a 2.21. So I would say these are my favorites. And now we just need to mix and match a little bit and find some that I think the correlations make sense. Everybody wants Henry fantasy points. Yeah, I think one thing that's a little tougher for me is I am a respecter of this Chargers run defense. I think they're pretty good. And yeah, I mean, Henry is, scores a touchdown in virtually every game. Honestly, if you wanted to fuck around with a Henry touchdown, what if you go with receiving TD? Like, think about this. So even in the past 2 games, he had receiving TDs similar to what we saw with Barkley last night. And I'm not using the same comp, but one of the hires I liked, and I know Jeff Ulrich flagged this over at Fantasy Life, was Barkley receiving, where he doesn't get used a ton in the receiving game, but against slightly stiffer run defenses, they do utilize him more, and his receiving stuff really hit. I kind of love the spread on, you're telling me 0.7x for Henry to score a rushing TD. What about against a tougher run defense? They use him a little bit more in the screen game, a little bit more as a pass catcher. That 6.6x for the Derrick Henry touchdown speaks to me a good bit now that we kind of talk it out. That seems like way too big of a number. I mean, he's literally had a receiving touchdown in 2 of his past 3 games. All right. Help me mix and match these. I need to think through these. So we're going to split. We'll split on an entry, the McConkey and the QJ. I do love in the same, I'm writing notes so I can help myself think through how to do these. I like the Disley hire paired with the Dobbins. And I think it also pairs well with the Gus. And then maybe you toss the Bateman into that. I think the Henry receiving TD pairs well with a couple different things, probably the QJ or the Ladd stuff or the Gus touchdown. I think there's a lot of different ways you could do the Henry one. Let's see here. When did he score a receiving TD? Against the Bengals and against the Broncos? Or am I messing that up? Maybe am I an idiot? Yes, I'm an idiot. My bad. My bad. I was looking at receptions. All right, we're taking the Derrick Henry out of the idea box. Underdog knew what they were doing. I scrolled down here and I saw these and I thought they were touchdowns and they were not. Thank you, Johnny Footballs. We're taking that out of the idea box. No more Henry receiving TD. Watch him score one now, though, after we did that whole long thing. All right, let's do. All right, I want to make sure I don't forget these. Bateman, Gus, Dobbins, QJ, Disley, Likely. Okay. I think my favorite here, like just for if we're going to do a core, would be one of, we play Bateman doesn't score a TD. We play Dobbins lower than 12.5 rush attempts. We play Disley higher than 4.5 receptions. And then we run it twice with QJ and once with Ladd. And that's an 18x there. So I think that can be a nice core. So we're going to call this core 1. And then we're going to reuse it. And then we're going to run this again with Ladd. Same thing. Longest reception. Where did it go? I need to refresh. All right, Ladd. Longest reception. Yeah, so both of those are little 18Xs. You can run that twice. Dan mentioning the Haskins thing. So my only thought on that is last week they did it and then he failed and then they finally brought Dobbins in and he scored. And I'm wondering, did they learn their lesson with that? Maybe they haven't learned their lesson, but that's my only thought is that it worked, I think 2 weeks ago. And then it didn't work last week. And then they're like, oh yeah, Dobbins is way more explosive and reliable at the goal line. And then you couple that with the double former Ravens running back revenge game. And it's like, are they really going to not give Gus or Dobbins a goal line shot against their former team in favor of Hassan Haskins? So that one's a little tougher, I think, for me to get to. All right, let's do one with Likely. Let's do that slide on Likely. I do think just like the Disley over 4.5 receptions is one of my favorite. And we could, because we're going bigger slide on this one, I think we could take like QJ. So Matt LaMarca over at Fantasy Life liked higher than 3.5 receptions. They're so low volume that I'd almost always rather play yards with him. Maybe we just do the 23.5 longest reception on this. And then that's a 14.5. I like that. Yeah, that's a good call too. You could just play the Bateman under 3.5 instead of the no score touchdown. We haven't gotten under Bateman, 0.82. I still, though, at 0.82 versus the 0.67, I'd almost rather just take the no touchdown, to be honest. I don't think we've gotten in the Gus Edwards tutty yet, which I liked. Play him tutty. Play play Disley. Play Disley there. What does that get us to? And then maybe we just play. What was the other Raven one you guys liked? I guess we could do the do that Bateman. That way, if he somehow gives us the blade, what is the difference on this though? So it's a 15x versus a 12.8x. See, I think for that, I think we just play the no TD. All right, I'm gonna do one more. I'm gonna do one more here with, we can do just like an all bomb one here. So our favorite slides. Let's do let's go back to the Quentin Johnston. Longest reception. Let's get likely. They pull my likely from me. We'll do likely. I like that. I like that 49.5. Let's do Gus to score. That's nice. This is clean. This is 100x right here. Quentin Johnston bangs one long pass, likely gets loose once in the open field, and Gus gets a revenge tutty. Let's run this twice. Let's run this twice. We'll run it once with QJ and once with Lad. I'm going to tell you guys something. The beauty about champions, about Pick 'em, is you can build whatever you want. You can take my ideas. You can mix them up. You can fade me. You can tail me. You could even build an entry with a bunch of plays that I didn't even do. That's the beauty about America, about Underdog. It's equal opportunity. If you want to use Zay Flowers, you can use Zay Flowers. All right, I'm going to put Lad into this one too. So we just run this two different ways. I like these a lot. These as 100x bombs, likely Gus, Lad. These feel good. All right. We got about 5 more minutes here before I'm going to hop off. So I do want to do a first look turkey gobble gobble. And then we'll let you guys head over and check out ADP chasing with Davis, Karain, and Mike Shope. Let's check out the big one here. So, no, this is turkey. The turkey. Which one's the rake free one? Where are we? Is this the rake free one? Yeah. Yeah, 200,000 prize pool. I thought I saw before it showed the rake percentage is 0. Did that rake percentage leave? Am I going crazy? I thought it said rake. Where did it show the rake? Oh, there it is. God, thought I was going crazy. Yeah, so this is the contest with 0% rake. 150 max contest, 20,000 to first, 15,000. Super flat payout structure. Awesome structure here, rake free. Definitely want to get in as many entries as you can into this. This is my first time looking at this slate. We talked about the quarterback stuff before. Love, Goff, Tua, Caleb, and then Rush and DeVito are going to be the 2 that don't get drafted. Tight ends, Jonnu, Ferg, Kraft, Laporta. Kmet stands out here a good bit. I'm surprised. Yeah, Komet looks good here. It'll be interesting what goes on with Dallas. If Ferguson, I assume Ferguson will be back, but Komet looks good. With Cooper Rush's pass attempts and just how pass heavy they've gone and how bad the Giants have been, that looks pretty good. Running back, not a bad running back slate. I mean, to be able to get Tyrone Tracy as RB6, Dowdle down here, doesn't look bad. Wide receiver, definitely a little weaker after Amon-Ra, Lamb, Tyreek. Then you got a tier gap kind of to Neighbors and Reed. Then you got all the Bears wide receivers. But Waddle, yeah, I don't know. This is a good slate. I think this is going to be a fun slate. No ADP in these contests as well. You can see the lobby is just sorted by projection. Definitely a good slate to set your own ranks, mix and match some ranks. The David Montgomery stuff with him leaving a little early, so now we get the question marks here with Jacobs and Montgomery. I still like Jacobs a good bit, and I think I'm going to build a Cooper Rush team, so let's grab CeeDee Lamb. I talked about it a little bit earlier, Pat. Someone asked the question, and I got into it a bit. But I'm gonna write up a piece for Fantasy Life this week too, and I'll get in a little bit more in depth. It's in a contest this big, 40,000 entries, it is a good slate to find some scrolls. Your Kavonte Turpins of the world, your Khalif Raymonds. Definitely tight end is by far the weakest position group here. Johnny's going to catch a lot of love after how well he's been playing. Let's see. What do we got going here? Yeah, this is another spot to... Yeah, DeAndre Swift was back to a really nice role last week. I think he could get used in the passing game a good bit. Let's go ahead and grab DeAndre Swift. Waddle has been on fire lately. Let's go ahead and grab Waddle here. I can already tell just from doing this first draft how many options there are at these various junctions in the draft that it's going to be a very fun slate to build a portfolio of teams around. Trey Lance, yeah. There you go. Is that how you win on Thanksgiving? Undrafted Trey Lance? Johnny Footballs goes double tight end. I'll have to look closer on this slate and see. Definitely probably going to be a little unique. Don't know if I love it. Yeah, that's a good call. Dobbs injured, might be out, narrow some of the Green Bay targets. I would recommend embracing this Jake Ferguson Q tag right now. What's your worst case scenario? You get swapped to Cole Kmet, you get swapped to Theo Johnson or Schoonmaker, right? If Ferguson's out, you can just move Schoon up. So I would probably be hammering this Ferguson tag. This is so funny. I just assumed I was going to be doing Cooper Rush, and then everybody played chicken. Let's do naked Jordan Love here. I'll have plenty of opportunities. Well, not naked. I have Jacobs. I'll have plenty of opportunities to draft Cooper Rush teams over the next few days. This is a badge room, so I'm getting everyone kind of punted quarterback. I envision Jordan Love going much earlier as we progress throughout the week. No ADP for the 4-person, similar to how the primetime Paloozas work. They only have ADP for the 6-person contests. All right, there's the team, our first turkey team of the week. It will not be the last. Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, DeAndre Swift, CeeDee Lamb, Jaylen Waddle, Jake Ferguson. Fun cram hanging out with you. Thank you to all the new YouTube members, the super chats, the gifts. Appreciate all of you guys hanging out. Even on the weeks where we're not winning, it's still fun hanging out with you guys, talking through the slate, all of that good stuff. Go watch ADP Chasing. I got the redirect set up right now. Otherwise, you can head over to Ship Chasing as well, and you can get some more conversation about the Week 12 slate and some more tiers from Davis about Saquon Barkley. All right, we'll see you guys next time on the